Scott Radley Show here on 900 CHML. Come Monday, you may be hearing that song playing at picket stands around the city because unions representing many of Hamilton's unionized workers could be on strike as of Monday. 95% strike mandate they've been given. They've had a no board report, and it appears, now we don't know what's going to happen. Negotiations are still ongoing, but it appears we could be heading towards this. I want to bring in Vito Scro. He's a former mayoral candidate, former Liberal candidate for Flamborough-Glanbrook. Joins me now. Vito, how are you?
Good afternoon, Scott. How are you? Haven't talked to you in a while.
It has been a long while. Hope you're doing well, and hope you're prepared, I guess, to not have garbage pickup and a bunch of other things that may go away for a little while if this strike happens.
I am not prepared in the least, as I don't think a lot of people, especially in the lower city, are. This could be a massive disaster, especially in the summertime, for sure.
You know, I was going to say, how did we get here? But I think I know part of the reason how we got here, and it kind of surprises me that it was allowed to happen. And let me read a quote from Jay Hunter. He's the president of QP 5167. To add insult to injury, we've come to learn the city has increased wages for managers and non-union staff at a much higher rate than what our members are asking for. Clearly, there's money available to pay staff. Vito, the city has a policy to avoid a brain drain that they will keep up with certain other municipalities. But when you gave 2 increases in a year to the non-union people, some of it 15%, were you not almost guaranteeing you were going to have a showdown with the unions?
So this is just a symptom of a very poor management style, and not just this council now, in prior councils. You take a look at the way we spend cash, the systems that are in place, the processes we go through, and this doesn't surprise me. And by the way, it's going to shock a lot of people who know me. I don't blame QP 5167 in the least to try to get at least the inflationary amount, because inflation right now is 5, 6, 7%. I was at the meeting on Monday for the encampment issues and that fiasco. And what came out there is that the city has already hired 150 full-time people in the last 8 to 9 months. That's another $12 to $15 million a year going forward every year. We just keep adding cost after cost after cost. I have no problem with reasonable demands from CUPE, which, again, shocks a lot of the people that know me. I think they work very hard. I would support an increase ask by that amount, because if you take a look at the budgeting in this city, how they spend money, this is a very minor ask compared to what else we do. We've got some serious problems in here, and this management style of this council better change quickly, because 6% will look like a dream compared to what's coming in increases in the following years.
Well, here's one of the things. Back about a year ago, I wrote something because I just found out the numbers. 10 years ago, and this is so 11 years ago now, the city paid $629 million in salaries and benefits. $629 million. This year, by next year, it will probably pass the $1 billion. It has gone up by a third in just about a decade, and it is going up faster and faster every year because you're building increases on previous increases. There comes a point, though, and I'm not taking away the workers and the hard work they do and that they deserve increases, but somehow it's got to get tempered. I mean, we can't afford to keep going at this pace, can we?
So what? I'll give you an example. As I've spoken to you earlier, I was on the board of HECFI, Hamilton Entertainment Conventions Facilities, about 10 years ago. The last 4 months it existed. They had a management structure that was very low at the beginning, a few $100,000 a year in salaries. That ballooned to $3 million a year. That was 30% of revenue just in upper management. We have hired so top heavy to do what? I have no idea. I absolutely have no idea. And they just keep spending more and more and more and more. There's an opportunity. We're going to have a new city manager. And I hope it's from someone from the outside, because if it's just the culture that's on the inside, we're going to have even more serious trouble. We need to go through every department, and I mean every department, on a value for money audit, line by line. And it's not just salaries. Salaries are a large part of it. There's no doubt about it. But the waste that occurs, I took a look at the 2021 financial statements for the city of Hamilton, and those are the only ones I could find available online. Our reserves are dropping, and our debt is going up. there's a crunch coming. We've got some big costs to take care of. There's a study by the GM Health Plan. It's a company, it's a consulting firm that took a look at the infrastructure needs of the lower city. There is a problem, especially along Barton Street to the main sewer line. It's going to take $1 billion just to clean that area up. And this isn't some nice thing. This is water and sewer, basic needs. We've got so many things coming ahead of us, and the frivolity that this city is spending money on is ridiculous.
Well, you know, you mentioned the 100 and whatever it was new people that have been hired.
150.
Here's what I don't understand about that. And again, you know, I know that people in the public sector may tell me that I'm being naive or I'm being obtuse or whatever else. How come the private sector continues to be asked to do more and more with less and less? And I'm not suggesting they're doing everything every bit as well as they once did with less people, but it hasn't dropped off the cliff. And in the public sector, we insist that we have to keep hiring at a rapid pace just to keep up with what's going on. I don't understand how we can't expect those in the public sector also maybe to do a little bit more. It doesn't seem like it's a whole lot to ask for the salary, for the benefits, for the protection of your job. It doesn't seem unreasonable to me.
It's management style. Again, it starts literally from the top. What direction is given? What is expected? Is it told to the employees? This is where we need to go. I mean, again, from the very, very top on down, and I hope this new city manager comes in and says, I'm sorry, I've been given a mandate to run this efficiently as the best we can. And I hope he or she does do that. I remember around the time of amalgamation, there was a gentleman named Doug Lychak, and he was appointed as the city manager. He was what we needed. Now, unfortunately, he angered many councillors at the time when he went into their little special pet projects, and he cut them. And what did these councillors do? First of all, they found jobs for their friends in organizations that were associated with the city, and then they went and fired him. And then they went and fired the next guy literally months after he was hired. We need more of a professional type, and I hate using the word business because businesses and governments don't mix. You need to be efficient. There's no doubt about it. But this is strictly a management problem. This is not an employee problem, especially at the QP level. It's at the top.
Well, Vito, we got to go. But forgive my skepticism. I don't see any likelihood that we are going to get rid of anybody. I don't want people fired. I would be happy with just putting a hiring freeze on and saying as people leave, we're not going to replace them. Anything. But I don't see that happening. I don't see any evidence that this city has any interest in reducing in size by one person.
There is going to be, that will happen when the anger finally hits from outside. That meaning the taxpayers like myself and you.
Is that when the 10 or 11% tax increase hits?
Well, 6% will look like a dream in the next year or two. Trust me. I mean, you took a look at the meeting I went to on Monday. That's $4 million right there. That didn't include, this is for the encampments, that didn't include the extra police costs that are going to be needed, which nobody has any idea how they're going to enforce these things. And look, Hamilton's not alone with an encampment issue. It's all over the country. But that's just an example of what's going to go wrong. And we've got to stop governing by ideology. It's not a left, it's not a right thing. We need to get back to how do we provide the most efficient services that this city is supposed to provide. That's the only way to run a city.
That is Vito Scroll. Always appreciate having you on. Thanks for doing it. It's been a while, but we'll have you back for sure. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks a lot.